Hi, I'm Wyatt Lohman.
I'm Kelsey Lohman.
And I'm Meg Gresky with the OK Conservation Commission. If you two wouldn't mind, start by introducing yourselves and telling us a little bit about your history in agriculture.
So I grew up a horse trader's son. My dad raises horses, buys and sells horses for a living. We used to run a sale barn down at Mountain View, Oklahoma, and since I was a little kid, that's all I knew growing up was being around livestock. And so for me, my passion started with livestock. And then now where I live in western Oklahoma, I'm surrounded by cattle and horses, and that's what I do for a living. I train horses and take care of cattle for people, and we also have our own herd. We run some sheep and goats and pigs and horses and cattle, a little bit of everything. I guess that's the best way to sum it up about myself.
I grew up in eastern Oklahoma, northeast Oklahoma, on a dairy. I've been around livestock all my life as well. My mom's side of the family ran beef cattle. I went to college out here, managed a preconditioning yard, got a lot of cattle handling skills on what not to do and what to do, and have kind of just realized there's a better way to do things than fighting dirt.
So let's talk about this piece of property here. You just bought it recently, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We purchased it last year in May. So we're in Ouachita County. This piece of ground that we bought, it's a lot of sand and sandburrs. It was conventionally farmed. This 40 acres we're sitting on now was used for making Bermuda hay. And then the 40 acres behind us, I think was wheat crops, cotton crops. It's just been mainly used for crop farming.
It's bottom ground.
And it's bottom ground, so the Ouachita River connects to our property.
We're not sure on the rainfall.
Not hardly much lately.
Yeah.
It's a very unreliable moisture climate.
Right,
out here.
but also I used to think the perspective of rain, but until I got to go to Alejandro Carrillo's class, he gets 3 inches of rain, and he's not complaining.
Yeah. He's in the Chihuahuan Desert.
Yeah, he's not complaining, and he's making it work.
And he
so
has grass this tall.
Exactly. So it's like, yeah, you need rain, but if you're a good manager, you shouldn't even have to worry about how much rainfall.
But it really is more about capturing and storing and effectively using the rain you get.
Yes.
Because you can be in a 60-inch rainfall area and have soil that's unable to capture and hold water and still really struggle because of that.
Yep.
But then you have somebody like Alejandro who is in the desert and is incredibly successful because he has prepared his soil and his plant communities and his livestock to fit that environment. You looked at a lot of places.
Well, for one, the location. It's on a dead-end road. We have no neighbors. And me being from northeast Oklahoma, I said we got to have water and we got to have trees because I did not plan to live out here. I wanted to move back east, and then COVID hit and land went, and there's just no way. So we've looked at properties for how many years?
At least 3 years.
At least 3 years. And so this one, with the Ouachita being right there, it connects to a piece of our land, and there's trees, and the view.
It is a beautiful
And
place.
I'm Native American, and this just feels very wild and free. But Wyatt's reason for wanting to buy it is not the same.
Yeah, yes and no. The location was definitely a big thing for us. Like she said, dead-end road, access to a river. But she's got an uncle that lives close here, and if something ever happens, he'd be the first guy I'd want to run to. And to have them for neighbors, I think is a blessing. That this land, honestly, this piece of property is a blessing. The way everything fell into place at the time that it did, it was a divine, what's the word I'm looking for?
Opportunity.
It was a divine opportunity.
Well, I thought he was going to say, before we started dating, I took him floating down this river.
Oh, that's true, yes.
That's where I thought he was going to go with this.
That's another one of the reasons why I fell in love with this place, is because when we were dating, before we were married and with a child on the way, we've floated that river right past this property before, and I know those floating trips is how she got me.
So can you tell us a little bit about what your goals are for your land?
As much as we love livestock, our biggest goal is to be able to run the livestock, but do it in sync with nature and how Mother Nature would want us to take care of this piece of property. And that's the biggest plan from here on, is we're just wanting to go get everything set up, our infrastructure. One thing that I'm mostly interested in is letting this place be a sanctuary that when people come, they go, wow, what are you doing with your land? Like, I see you running cows and sheep and horses, and you guys still have grass clear up to your knees. Like, what are you guys doing out here that's working? And you know, because where we live, there's a lot of tillage, a lot of conventional farming, a lot of pastures that get chewed down to the dirt. And so being in that area, knowing like there's different ways, like Kelsey said, there's better ways to do this. We just hope that this piece of property will be the start of our journey in making that happen, taking something that was abused for decades, like 5 decades, 6 decades of tillage and constant crop farming. And actually, I think this is probably the first year it's actually had a full year's worth of rest, and God knows when.
I think that's really important if we're going to promote conservation agriculture, people first need to see what's possible. Because most of the time they can't even visualize anything that's any different from conventional ag. If that's all they're surrounded by.
Yeah, and that's all they know. And that's what they've been doing for years, and every year it's wheat or cotton. And so I'm hoping that our generation, our group, our age group will start making those transitions.
Yeah, people need to see that it can be done in their neck of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. And I think what's really special about our generation, too, is that we've watched the generations before us struggle so hard and not be profitable and have things like the Dust Bowl happen, watch our soil blow away. And if we're going to do this whole ag thing, we're not going to do it that way.
Yep.
People in our generation are going to refuse to struggle our whole lives and not get ahead. So you guys have been accepted into the SHIP program, the Soil Health Implementation Program, through OCC. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Soil Health Implementation Program is the OCC Soil Health Team's first attempt at a cost share program that is specifically directed at regenerative ag. Because oftentimes our standard, long-standing state and federal conservation programs don't specifically address whole systems management. They're often just focused on, okay, we'll pay you for one practice, one time, 1 year. And everyone knows, who's familiar with regenerative ag, that one practice for 1 year doesn't make a whole lot of difference.
Nope.
So we wanted to structure this program not only to include just one practice, but to allow producers to implement a whole system of soil health management to address all the parts of the puzzle. And we wanted to have a close relationship with those producers and stand by them for more than 1 year so that we can walk them through things that may not work out the right way initially. And so if they're feeling like giving up or losing hope, we can be there to help them come up with an alternative plan and get them reinvigorated and walk them through those first tough 3 years. Because it seems like about 3 years in is where you're really going to start seeing significant changes. So we wanted to do a multi-practice, multi-year program.
I think it would be a great opportunity for them to know where they have people across the state implementing this, so they can send people their way to show them. Because that's the biggest thing right now for us. It's who's doing this, that we don't have to travel 3 hours into a different climate, microclimate that's not like ours. So I think that would be great.
And that is a very big, important goal of the SHIP program. The people that we accepted, we had over 300 applicants around the state, and we were only able to, due to our funding, take in about 40 or 45 right in our first program period. But the people that we chose, we made it a point to express that we really want people that are going to teach others, that are going to be open to showing what they've done and spending time and spending effort with people who are wanting to learn.
Yes.
So we definitely are prioritizing connecting people And it is really important for people to see a local example. There are great, really intelligent, brilliant farmers and ranchers all over the world doing crazy cool things, but how those specific things and ideas can be adapted to your climate is often kind of it's like the problem that farmers and ranchers have. So they don't really understand how it could translate from one environment or one location to another. So we do at the Commission want to kind of have a Rolodex in our minds of regenerative people in different areas across Oklahoma that we can send our consulting clients to and say, here, these folks are doing what you want to do and they would love to talk to you and give you some advice. We talked about wanting to develop fencing and water infrastructure for a regenerative grazing program, is that right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So how do you imagine laying that out? Or where do you think that we're going to start with that?
Starting with this piece here where we're sitting at, because it is established. It was Bermuda. A guy used to cut hay off of it year after year, and so there's stuff to work with here. Whereas the other side of the fence line down at the bottom, there's not as much growth, and so for beginners, I'd say our biggest goal is to get water spread out through this 40 and get some electric fences up and get a grazing plan put together on how many head we can run and do it correctly instead of mismanaging it because we didn't follow through on each step.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you guys have the resources and the desire to get started and realize that it's going to be a process and it's not just all going to happen all at once. And I think that's one of the biggest hang-ups with regenerative agriculture adoption is that sometimes the results take a few years to really become apparent, and some people are not patient enough.
We've been there. We've made those mistakes. And it is hard. The first few years, it's like, gosh, am I just spinning my wheels? Because you put in a lot of effort and put a lot of money forward and time, and you don't see the results after the first year. And I think that's why a lot of people don't believe in it or ultimately give up on it, because they don't stay with it consistently year after year. It took 60 years to tillage and conventional farming on this place, that hopefully we get it done in less than that amount of time to turn it back to the way God created it.
What are some of the specific challenges that you guys have run into so far in implementing regenerative and soil health practices?
Being too all in one way, like no conventional type of anything. So we've learned
cold turkey quit.
Yes. So we've learned don't matter how much you plant or how much rain you get, if you ain't got air in the soil, nothing's gonna grow. And so this place that we rent right now, it's was probably farmed since the Dust Bowl, hasn't been farmed in 5 years, 7 years when we got it, and it's just hard, and nothing would grow.
We went to this class.
Yeah.
He said he gave everybody an opportunity to ask whatever they wanted, and my question was, how do you kickstart a farm? And we told him the situation, and to clarify, this piece of ground she's talking about is some leased land that we have in a different county. And first year we planted, no-till, thought we were doing the right thing, nothing came up. Second year, no-till, nothing came up. And I had actually, funny story, this is one of my challenges, I guess you could add to this, is I told a guy, yep, I'll do some custom grazing. He had around 40 heifers and a bull. And I said, yeah, I just planted that field and it'll be ready come July. And he said, okay. We shook on it, got a contract put together. July came and nothing came up. So then I had to buy 100 bales of wheat hay, and I rolled out 100 bales of wheat hay, and I strip grazed these bales of wheat hay. And I know my neighbors were like, what is this kid doing out here? Who does he think he is?
Yeah, but then you figured out that the problem was no soil structure and too much compaction.
Yep.
I mean, and the soil was unable to breathe.
Right, and this Australian, the class we went to, he said, well, in the springtime, get a ripper and rip it about 6 inches deep. And that way you can get some of the water to infiltrate.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely instances where a well-planned tillage pass can be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that would, and you have to get something started growing in order for those plants to foster soil microbes and start building some soil structure and breaking that compaction up.
My journey started, like I said, I grew up on a horse farm. Trained horses my whole life, been at the sale barn for most of my life, been around animals, and I just love animals. I really do, and I love the land. I love to ride, and working for all these different outfits, taking care of cattle and whatnot, I've gotten the opportunity to do what I love, but then I wanted to do it myself. And once I started doing it myself, I started looking at my feed costs and going, man, this is way too expensive. And what turned me on to conservation was a class I took in college called Natural Resource Management. I talked about the history back to the Roosevelts, putting all this stuff together to try to take care of Mother Nature. And then that led to one day I walked into the conservation office in our district, walked in to sign up for a cost share program, and the kid who was younger than me, he was the district manager, and he said, hey, you want to be a board member? Sure. So I became a board member for the Deer Creek Conservation District 3 years ago, and the last 3 years has really opened my eyes and taught me so much. And looking back, I thought I knew something then, and I didn't. It's the best thing that could have happened to me is walking into that office and getting the invitation. The classes that have been presented, the people I've got to meet, the networking, our board members, they're all super smart guys, really good-hearted people. And all the events that conservation puts together, like the state meetings, the local meetings, there's a lot of people that are involved in conservation. And when I went to the national meeting in San Diego last year with our chairman at the time, I was blown away with how many people are involved in conservation. It made me really happy because I knew there's a lot of people that also care, spread out across our nation. And age? Oh, yeah, I guess Kelsey's bringing up a point that I'm the youngest, like Meg and Kelsey and I, we were definitely below the age average at these meetings. So I'm hopeful that we can start getting more people in the door that don't know anything about conservation, because that's where I was. I grew up riding horses and taking care of cattle, but I didn't know nothing about taking care of the land.
That's a very good point, that we definitely need younger people to get involved in the conservation district boards and in locally led conservation.
Back to his point of being on the conservation board, well, then that opened an opportunity for me to go into the Oklahoma Grazing Coalition board, and I was like, I'm not qualified, I know nothing. And same thing, I've learned so much, so many networking opportunities, so many classes that I would not have known about, because they put on at least 2 a year, and they're a great resource too, the people involved with that. So I've also learned a lot, but again, it's all older people, and they're like, we need younger people, we're too old to be
Yep. So
running around trying to put these events on.
Yep. So here's my message to you old birds. Invite the young folks to come in. Just have them come to the board meetings, whatever meeting you have. An invitation is where I got started. Had that kid not invited me to come to the first board meeting and check it out, I know I wouldn't probably be sitting here right now. To the younger generation, kids my age that are interested in it, it's going to be profitable, it's going to be fun, it's an adventure, it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. So I hope whoever hears this message will be inspired by it to want to do what's right for the land and have a little more sympathy or empathy for the resources that God gave us.
And I would add to that and say, don't get hung up on the old people. We've done that. And it's very frustrating because they've been doing it this way for 50 years, and they're not going to change their minds. It all starts with the kids.
Yep.
You got to show the kids that it can be fun and profitable, because they're the people that are going to take over for the farmers.
Yep.
And right now, people don't want any part of it because it's not profitable.
To the NRCS office, Dean Jackson, Mark, those guys, they're a wealth of knowledge. Just talking to them and picking their brain and knowing what's available out there. So we've worked with the NRCS. We've worked with the Oklahoma Conservation Commission, the local conservation districts in each county that we operate in. Yeah, as far as organizations, those ones have definitely been helpful.
Oklahoma Grazing Coalition.
Yes, and Kelsey, the Grazing Land Coalition has been awesome too.